Apparently, this MC dies due to a god's influence. Don't know how that suddenly became a criteria for reincarnation, but I guess it's his lucky day. His reincarnation is handled by the goddess of reincarnation, and it comes with a clause, one where he has to exchange his memories for skills in the new world. You'd not believe losing his memories about family, friends, or acquaintances isn't the most hurtful part about his reincarnation. Turns out the most hurtful part will be forgetting how pretty the goddess of reincarnation was. He must have lived a shitty life. Later, he awakens as Kelvin with a floating tile as his guide, and we see him immediately regret his decision to swap his memory after being informed by the tile. Like, what was his pre-reincarnated self thinking when he made that bargain? He questions this ridiculous decision made on his behalf, like it wasn't his choice. Actually, I don't think Melfina, who is the goddess of reincarnation, gave him that much of an easy route, but all we can do is wonder since we don't exactly know the options of the bargain. One interesting part about his deal with the goddess of reincarnation? She becomes his servant, the irony, and she takes the form of the floating tile to accompany him in this world. But how cool is that? Later, they take a tour around the village, while Melfina does what women do best, talking. With the invisible form she attained, her voice in his head goes on and on about how excited she is to be his servant. To her, it was a vacation from goddess duties. She also speaks on how his pre-reincarnated self was super invested in her beauty. Meanwhile, Kelvin seems to be rather unfazed by this. I mean, what psychopath crushes on a floating object? Actually, the talks about his pre-reincarnated self get him curious and slightly fluttered. Wouldn't hurt to summon the goddess his pre-reincarnated self fell in love with, right? But when he is notified that he needs more XP for that, it's also a basic rule in the isekai world that only the strongest enjoys. So, Kelvin takes up registration to become an adventurer, but in the form he fills, he has to hide his true skill, known as the Summoner. Apparently, the kingdom has its eyes on summoners as it was a very rare leveled skill, and he also turns out to be an S-level summoner, the best and rarest type. So, he registers as a green mage, and soon, he is offered his guild membership card with the stunning F rank, which is the least offered to him at his level, and also determines the level of jobs he could take. Going for higher jobs could attract the penalty. His first mission? He decides to go after blue slimes. But actually, he couldn't wait to test out his summoning skills where no one could find him. Else, he could turn into some overnight tool for the royals in this new world. And trust me, he doesn't want that. From my knowledge about kings in an isekai world, most of them turn out either being shitty or making some kind of masterclass mistake. So, back to the story. Part of Kelvin's skill is reading his opponent's stats, thanks to the skill known as the appraising eye. But then, looking at things logically, the only weapon he wields is a wood shaped like a hook. Looking at this scene, all I could wonder was, how? How does this work against defeating a slime? Let's see how Kelvin works though, fingers crossed. He charges after it to take the first strike. Okay, I wasn't disappointed when he missed the first strike. I got disappointed when the slime knocked him down. Blood really charged out here thinking a mere stick would work. Blood thinks he's Harry Potter. After much dancing around, he finally lands a hit on it, weakening it. Then performs the XP draining act of performing a contract with the slime. 1 down, 2 to go. When the contract proved successful, Kelvin finally had the upper hand in this task. Now, he could summon the slime he calls Clotho. In an instant, they weaken the other slimes for the mission, and given how strong Clotho turns out to be, Kelvin can now see this reason summoners were a hot cake in the kingdom. Clotho's stats literally climb up 100 levels after receiving a boost from Kelvin when the contract was sealed, which was also one of the perks of being an S-class summoner. There, Melfina also informs him that he was the only S-rank summoner in the whole country, among others which were a C rank or a B rank at most. Mind you, Melfina, this information should have reached them way before then, because now he wasn't just rare. Now he's the demigod of all summoners. Kelvin gets his first pay for the task he received. Up next, some place to ease for the night. On his way, he takes a turn to a dark alley. Turns out, There's lawlessness in every dark corner. We see a man auctioning girls as slaves to a group of men who were ready to bid. In this fantasy world, magic and monsters weren't the only remarkable occurrence. One of the girls was revealed to be an elf, half-elf certainly. For a moment, we get to see some eye contact between the half-elf and Kelvin. Actually, it ends pretty fast. Kelvin didn't give an F. Soon, he arrives at the recommended inn, and yeah, my only problem with this inn is, it had no bath. Actually, no home in the kingdom had a bath except the castles. The common man washes himself up in the river. Now, I couldn't possibly imagine myself existing in this world. However, the meal at the inn looks pretty decent, I must say. That's a 10 out of 10 from innkeeper Claire. My humble regards to the chef. Fast forward, because things were about to get pretty interesting around here. Remember that girl at the guild registration building? Ange, yeah. She congratulates Kevin on his promotion from an F rank to an E rank. However, she advises him that it would be better if he was accompanied by a party. Kelvin's opinion? Why have a partner when you got a Clotho? Yet, it seems his rapid increase in levels could cause problems for him, as rumors have been going around the guild about his unusual increase in ranking. So, it appears one trick to his rapid leveling is doing tasks that are a rank above. Just then, Cashel, a D-rank adventurer, approaches him. Of course, the first encounter for me looked like he had something up his sleeve. His appearances gives off a cunning trickster energy. He also proposes a D-rank task where Kelvin has to join his party to go after the Black Ghost Knight. However, Kelvin easily senses it could be a trap, and instead, turns it into a friendly competition. First to kill it takes the glory. Ange warns him though, the Black Ghost Knight is rumored to be the strongest despite its rank, especially since Kelvin was solo against Cashel's possibly terrifying plans. Cashel's party arrives at the hunt site first, and gets a welcome surprise in the form of Kelvin. A new look, a new stick, which was now a rod. Few upgrades here and there. Furthermore, an upgraded version of Clotho. Turns out Kelvin knew that Cashel's offer was an attempt to ambush him. And my man decided to bring the fight to them. Cashel's party ain't got nothing on Kelvin. They were merely all talk and no fight. It also revealed that Kelvin had some skill known as concealment. Hence, these posers couldn't detect his type of skill, which is also a good way to hide his summoner skill. They really didn't know who they were messing with. After that mini-drama scene, no, I wouldn't call that a fight, Kelvin faces the Black Ghost Knight. But after his remarkable stats, Kelvin chooses to make a contract with him, rather than destroying him. They awkwardly become friends, like the bond between an old man and a young boy seemed like a father and son bond. The Black Ghost Knight, identified as Gerard, also had a story to tell. Back in the day, he formerly served the king. However, the kingdom was torn apart by a threat. During that period, he also lost his wife and daughter. He only agrees to make a contract if Kelvin showed him the stuff he was made of. Despite how difficult it was, trusts Kelvin to deliver the job. In the end, Kelvin gets the perks for the task, Gerard has a new king, and Cashel's party is apprehended. They say everything has an end, and that includes Kelvin's joy. Turns out the guildmaster, Leo, had caught up to his secret about being from another world. And the summoner? How? He simply had a higher concealment rank compared to Kelvin. Thanks to Gerard and Melfina, he confidently tells the truth. After all, the best thing he could have right now is companions who can keep his secret. Even better for Kelvin when Leo reveals that he had met other reincarnations like him. It seems the occurrence of monsters lately is due to the arrival of the Demon King. He offers Kelvin peace that may arise from a power tussle in the kingdom, special rank tasks, and rewards, on the condition that he offers protection to the kingdom with the arising threat. Also, from his conversation with Leo, he finds out about the heroes that were summoned from his world. Apparently, a priestess got a vision of the incoming rise of the Demon King, and then, the priestess performed the summoning ritual by which the goddess of reincarnation, Melfina, also granted. Just then, Kelvin decided it was time to get a party. Remember that slave elf girl he ignored? That's who's on his mind. I actually thought he forgot about her. Turns out he was just broke. Unfortunately, when he arrives there, he finds out she's cursed and instantly burns anyone that touches her. What happens next? Kelvin leaves, but shockingly returns to buy her. And not only that, but he also converts his skill points, just enough to break her curse. Ethel is so thankful and promises to do her best to serve him. Fast forward to a month later, Ethel settles nicely with the team, becoming a masterclass archer combined with her skill points, her master's boost, and the perks of breaking the curse. She also has a significant increase in rank as a C ranker. On a fine day when there's no monster hunting, Anj decides to bring Ethel and Kelvin out for some sweet tasting. They're having a really good time with both girls offering him some piece of their cake. Just then, their table is knocked down by Tabra, the third prince of Trison. He was clearly pissed about the PDA, public display of affection among the commoners. From this, you can tell he has a sad life. You do not believe the indecent ball of Plump asks for the girls in exchange for forgiveness. Unfortunately, he doesn't know who he messed with. After a brief show of Kelvin's power, Tabra has himself on his knees pleading for his life. Funny enough, he wasn't from this kingdom. He just popped out of nowhere, and on his way to find the guildmaster Leo, his bum couldn't resist causing trouble. After the drama with Tabra, Kelvin has trouble sleeping that night. Not because of bedbugs or anything, but the reason was lying on the bed next to him. Damn, he's so lucky. The team also embarks on many skill acquisitions like Ethel's sewing, giving them nice fits, and Kelvin's blacksmith finally uses a weapon that's not wooden. Afterward, they take a mission by Leo. It seems some adventurers found a demon lurking underneath a hidden door, and apparently, Kelvin is the only one strong enough to handle it. The team investigates the cave where they encounter the archdemon, Victor. He reveals to have purposely set a trap for the humans, and is lucky enough that he let the weak ones go so the stronger ones can come forth. He is also revealed to have the Demon King's daughter held hostage, for reasons we don't know, but we will find out. His ultimate plan? Simple: lure high-powered humans and absorb their powers when he eats them. Meanwhile, we see Kelvin super excited about the incoming fight against the supposed S-rank archdemon, Kelvin. Stay tuned.